Okay, this is Eat This Bread, the Catholic Communion hymn by Jacques Berthier, and text by Robert Batastini. I don't know how to pronounce this. Anyway, I'll play through it as I would just instrumental. Okay, so let's talk through that now. And I did verse 1 and I think verse 4. Because the goal is just to have enough music to carry on after the congregation has sung the verses, and to be able to carry through the communion rite and activity and cleaning up all the dishes and stuff. Sorry, I'm a convert. I don't know all the right terms. But anyway, I'm just following the guitar chords in the key that you sing it, so that makes it handy. You don't have to capo or anything. So this G chord, and the melody's on the second string, third fret, with a little finger. And then just a regular C chord, your melody's on the first string. The melody stays on the first string for the A minor, and it goes up on the first string on the D. And then the B minor, you need to be able to bar. And then to the E minor with that melody on the first string, third fret, little finger. And then you drop down to the second fret with your third finger to catch that F sharp, and then back to the G, and then to the D. And this is this D chord. If you haven't played this before, if you're not familiar with it, it's pretty easy. It's a variation of like a B flat or this C, this kind of bar chord. But it just uses these three notes: the first fret of the fifth fret of the first string, seventh fret of the second string, seventh fret of the third string, and the open fourth string or open fifth if you want. Don't play the sixth. So that's a D, and I do this little figure a lot. A hammer on the second string there on the eighth fret with my little finger. That's a nice little riff to dress it up. Then you go to the G chord, which is played exactly like a D chord, but on the 7th fret instead of on the 2nd fret. and use the open D bass. So you lose out on the G bass here, but nobody's going to care. So G, drop back into that D chord, and just to mess the bass up or change the bass around, I like to drop down to the 5th string when I'm there on that D chord. So 4th string bass on this G that looks like a D chord, and 5th string bass. And you can, as you're changing, you can open that up, and you can either, if you need a note to just kind of fill in while you're changing, you can hit the open 1st string or open 2nd string, and then the E minor with the little finger on the 3rd fret. This is on, and then the B minor, melody's right there on the 1st string. And then for the last phrase of that, trust in me and you will not thirst, the C, melody right on the 1st string, and then a D sus4, and then the G. And you notice I put that little figure in. It's kind of a folk music figure, but or folk guitar figure. I think I used that in my arrangement of Silent Night too. But it works really nice here to kind of, well, it makes a nice ending for one thing. And it's a nice little segue between the end of the refrain and the start of the verse. So your G, and you hammer on that C over G with your 1st and 2nd finger. It's a double hammer on. And then you slide up on the 2nd finger, slide to the 4th fret. And you can get a lot of vibrato on these. And then we go into, then I do the 1st verse. So it's this E minor. And then this is kind of a classical figure. So I get the E minor with my little finger here. It's like a tarega, lastim? I used to play that years ago. It means tear. Lastima? No. Let's see. How does it? Anyway. So sliding with the 2nd and 4th fingers. So your 2nd finger goes to the 4th fret. Your 1st little finger goes to the 5th fret. And then to the B7, or B. I just play a B7, yeah. Then back to the E minor again, and grabbing that note just like you did in the refrain, and then slide up to the D just like in the refrain. And you can play it straight if you want. You can throw that little riff in if you haven't overdone it, and then you're back to the refrain. So, and I like to slide on the 1st finger. Watch my first. It kind of it gives it some connection to keep a legato feel going, rather than. That's kind of an abrupt ending. So you kind of bridge that gap. It makes it smoother, a little more polished. Then you do the same thing, do the refrain, and then I do verse 4. I don't do all the verses. I cherry pick and do the easy ones because pretty much I'm a lazy guitarist. So you're coming off the refrain again after the 2nd time. Trust in me and you will not thirst. And we're going to go up to verse 4, and you hit this E minor up here, which is. So here I have my 1st finger on the 7th fret of the 1st string, 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, 3rd finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And I'm using the open 6th string bass. So that's an E minor. it's like a D minor here, or this E minor here, and I'm just playing the top 3 strings here. And I bring a little finger down to the 10th fret of the 2nd string to get that melody note. And then you go down, and I slide on my 2nd finger, and even though it's a B major written here, I like the sound of the B minor better. So I play the B minor. You can play a B major if you want there. So you could do it. But it's a little smoother transition. Slide, and then that finger goes right into the B minor. And then where am I? Then you go back to the E minor, this one with the little finger on the 3rd string, 3rd fret. And then you go up to the, I put that melody note in there even though it's not written. And then here I'm just hitting the thirds. I'm just hitting the 1st fret of the 1st string, 5th fret, 2nd string, 7th fret. So I go, and I'm just playing a thirds going down. So I slide those 2 notes down, 2 frets. And then I slide my 1st finger down 1 fret, put the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then bring my 1st finger over to just the 1st fret of the 2nd string and the open 1st string. So that would be, I messed up there. And then you're back into, soft here, you're going home, build it, some retard, a lot of vibrato, just a gentle broken strum like that. And that's how I play Eat This Bread. First, I'll play it with the congregation singing, and then at the end, and then if the priest is still working on stuff, then I carry it through until everything's done. Hope that helps. Bye bye.